Indonesia. Just saying the name conjures up a sense of mystery, adventure, and a world apart from the ordinary. It's a word that feels heavy with promise, as if it's a gateway to 1,000 stories waiting to be told. For many, Indonesia is a place that exists somewhere between reality and legend. A land that's both familiar and utterly unknown. A country that's been shaped by centuries of history, myth, and the relentless forces of nature. The name alone, it just brings up these images of the exotic, of faraway islands wrapped in emerald jungles and lined with beaches so white, they almost seem unreal. You might picture the sun glinting off turquoise waters, the gentle sway of palm trees, and the distant call of tropical birds echoing through the humid air. It's the kind of place that, for many, only exists in the pages of adventure novels or the dreams of restless travelers. It's a country that, honestly, feels like it belongs more in dreams than on any map. A place whispered about by travelers who are always searching for the last true frontiers of adventure. There's a sense of magic here, a feeling that anything is possible, and that every sunrise brings with it the promise of discovery. Indonesia is a land where the boundaries between myth and reality blur, where ancient legends still shape the way people see the world, and where every journey feels like a step into the unknown. For many, what comes to mind is a postcard scene of Bali's tranquil temples, their stone gates rising out of the mist, surrounded by lush rice terraces and the gentle sound of flowing water. Bali is the face of Indonesia for so many, a place of spiritual calm, where tradition and beauty seem to exist in perfect harmony. Or maybe the fearsome Komodo dragons roaming some ancient landscape, their massive forms moving slowly through the sun-baked grasslands of Komodo National Park. These creatures, unchanged for millions of years, are a living reminder of Indonesia's wild, untamed heart. A place where nature still rules, and where the past is never far away. But you know, those snapshots, beautiful as they might be, only scratch the surface of what this nation really is. Indonesia is so much more than its most famous icons. It's a place of endless variety, where every island, every village, and every person adds a new thread to the tapestry of the nation. The real Indonesia is found in the quiet moments, the unexpected encounters, and the stories that don't make it onto the postcards. Indonesia isn't just one place. It's this sprawling collection of worlds, a vast archipelago scattered across the equator, almost like someone tossed a handful of jewels onto a turquoise sea. Each island is its own universe, with its own landscapes, languages, and ways of life. From the coral reefs of Raja Ampat to the volcanic peaks of Java, Indonesia is a country that defies easy description. It's a country of immense scale, filled with complexity and staggering diversity. Over 270 million people call Indonesia home, and they speak more than 700 languages. The faces you see here are as varied as the landscapes: Javanese, Sundanese, Balinese, Papuan, and so many more. Each group brings its own traditions, beliefs, and stories, creating a mosaic of cultures that is unlike anywhere else on Earth. What we're about to do here is try to look beyond the brochure, to peel back the layers of this fascinating and honestly, often misunderstood country. We'll step into the workshops of artisans who keep ancient crafts alive, and into the homes of families whose lives are shaped by the rhythms of the land and sea. We'll see Indonesia not just as a destination, but as a living, breathing world of its own. We're setting out to explore the heart of a nation made up of over 17,000 islands, each one with its own unique identity, its own rhythm, and its own stories just waiting to be told. Imagine the sheer scale of it. Thousands of islands, some bustling with life, others untouched and wild, all connected by the restless waters of the Indian and Pacific Oceans. Imagine, for a moment, flying over it, seeing this endless stretch of water, dotted with land masses of every possible shape and size, from the colossal Sumatra, with its dense rainforests and smoking volcanoes, to the bustling cities and quiet villages that line its coasts. Sumatra alone is a world unto itself, home to orangutans, elephants, and some of the oldest rainforests on the planet. All the way down to tiny uninhabited specks of coral, places so small they barely break the surface of the sea, yet teeming with life beneath the waves. These islands are the hidden gems of Indonesia, places where time seems to stand still and where the only footprints in the sand are your own. This is a country that stretches further than the whole continent of Europe. From the western tip of Sumatra to the eastern edge of Papua, Indonesia spans more than 5,000 kilometers. It's a journey that would take weeks, even months to complete. A journey through time, culture, and nature. You could travel for weeks here and still only see a small fraction of it. Every journey is an adventure. Whether you're crossing the sea on a rickety ferry, winding through the mountains on a crowded train, or hiking through the jungle in search of hidden waterfalls. The sheer scale of Indonesia means that there's always something new to discover, always another story waiting just around the corner. That sheer size, honestly, is the foundation of its remarkable variety. It's really the key to understanding the soul of Indonesia. The mountains, the forests, the rivers, and the seas have shaped the people who live here, just as the people have shaped the land. It's a place where nature and culture are in constant conversation, each one influencing the other in ways both subtle and profound. I've traveled to some of the most remote and challenging corners of the planet, but Indonesia, well, it holds a special place in my heart. There's something about this country that gets under your skin. The warmth of its people, the wildness of its landscapes, the sense that you're always on the edge of discovery. It's a place that rewards curiosity and invites you to look deeper, to see beyond the surface. It's a land of profound contrasts, where ancient traditions live right alongside the relentless pace of modern life. In one moment, you might find yourself in a village where time seems to have stood still, watching a ceremony that's been performed for generations. In the next, you're swept up in the energy of a city that never sleeps, where skyscrapers rise above ancient temples and the future feels just within reach. One day, you might witness Stone Age tribes deep in the jungles of Papua, their lives shaped by traditions that go back thousands of years. Here, the forest is both home and protector, a place of mystery and meaning. The people of Papua are guardians of a way of life that is vanishing fast, yet still fiercely alive in the heart of the jungle. And the next, you'll find yourself in Jakarta, a bustling high-tech metropolis packed with millions reaching for the sky. Jakarta is a city of ambition and energy, a place where the old and the new collide in a whirlwind of sound, color, and movement. It's a city that never stops, where every street tells a different story, and where the future is being written every day. It's this constant dance between the old and the new, the wild and the tamed, that makes Indonesia so captivating. The country is always in motion, always changing, yet somehow it manages to hold on to its roots. The past and the present exist side by side, each one giving meaning to the other. It's a place that surprises you again and again, challenging what you think you know, and rewarding your curiosity with moments of pure wonder. Whether it's the sudden appearance of a volcano on the horizon, the unexpected kindness of a stranger, or the discovery of a hidden temple deep in the forest, Indonesia is a country that never stops giving. So let's begin this journey together. Let's set out with open minds and open hearts, ready to be surprised, challenged, and inspired. Indonesia is a country that rewards those who are willing to look beyond the obvious, to dig a little deeper, and to embrace the unknown. Let's wander through crowded markets, trek through steamy rainforests, and lose ourselves in the rhythm of daily life. The markets are alive with color and sound, a place where the past and present meet in a swirl of spices, laughter, and the clatter of everyday commerce. The rainforests, meanwhile, are a world apart, a place of silence and mystery, where every step brings a new discovery. And meet the people who call this extraordinary archipelago home. From the fishermen who rise before dawn to cast their nets, to the families who gather each evening to share stories and meals, the people of Indonesia are the heart of the nation. Their warmth, resilience, and generosity are what make this country truly unforgettable. We'll listen to their stories, share their food, and learn about the customs and beliefs that shape their lives. Food in Indonesia is more than just sustenance. It's a celebration of community, a way of bringing people together, and a reflection of the country's incredible diversity. Every meal is a journey in itself, a chance to taste the history and culture of the islands, and try to understand the forces that have shaped their lives. From the ancient kingdoms that once ruled these islands, to the colonial powers that left their mark, to the modern challenges of globalization and climate change, Indonesia's story is one of resilience and adaptation. It's a story that is still being written, every day, by the people who live here. This isn't just a travelogue about beautiful places. It's an exploration of identity, of resilience, and of the powerful human spirit that ties this nation of islands together. Indonesia is a country that has faced countless challenges: natural disasters, political upheaval, and the pressures of modernization. But through it all, its people have remained strong, united by a sense of community and a deep love for their homeland. It's an invitation to discover the real Indonesia, a country of endless wonder and infinite variety, a place that, once you visit, will never really leave you. The memories you make here, the people you meet, and the stories you hear will stay with you long after you've left its shores. So come with me, and let's begin this adventure together. Indonesia is waiting. Indonesia's story, well, it doesn't start with people. Before the first human footprints ever pressed into its soil, before the earliest villages or kingdoms, the land itself was already alive, shifting, rumbling and transforming in ways both violent and beautiful. To truly understand Indonesia, you have to go back millions of years, to a time when the earth was still shaping itself, when continents drifted and collided and the forces of nature were the only architects. It begins with the earth itself. Deep beneath the surface, unimaginable pressures built up, forcing molten rock to the surface in spectacular eruptions. These eruptions didn't just create mountains. They created entire islands, one after another, in a process that continues to this day. The land here is young, geologically speaking, and it's still growing, still changing, still restless. This is a nation born from raw elemental forces, a land shaped by fire and water. The drama of creation is written into every mountain, every valley, every stretch of coastline. Lava flows harden into new earth, while the relentless ocean carves and sculpts the edges of the islands, sometimes swallowing land, sometimes revealing it. The story of Indonesia is, at its core, a story of constant transformation. The country sits right on the Pacific Ring of Fire, that volatile, dynamic belt of tectonic activity circling the Pacific Ocean. This isn't just a line on a map. It's a living, breathing force that defines the very character of the land. The Ring of Fire is home to about 75% of the world's active and dormant volcanoes, and Indonesia is right at its heart, where the Earth's plates grind and clash, creating a landscape that is as unpredictable as it is breathtaking. And you know, this isn't just some random fact from a geography textbook. It's the very heart of the Indonesian landscape. The volcanoes are not distant or abstract. They are ever present, looming on the horizon, shaping the weather, the soil, and even the culture. For Indonesians, the volcanoes are both a source of awe and a daily reality, woven into the fabric of life. The archipelago is home to more active volcanoes than any other country on Earth, over 130 fiery mountains forming the backbone of its major islands. From the towering peaks of Sumatra and Java to the isolated cones of the Lesser Sunda Islands, these volcanoes are the architects of the land, building up islands from the sea and then, sometimes, tearing them apart again. Imagine living in a place where the ground beneath your feet is never truly still, where the air sometimes smells faintly of sulfur, and where the horizon is always marked by the silhouette of a volcano. For many Indonesians, this is everyday life. The volcanoes are not just distant mountains, they are neighbors, guardians, and sometimes threats. These volcanoes, honestly, they're both creators and destroyers. Their eruptions can be catastrophic, unleashing rivers of lava, clouds of ash, and deadly pyroclastic flows. But at the same time, they are the source of life, enriching the soil and making the land incredibly fertile. It's a paradox that defines Indonesia. The same forces that threaten life also make it possible. They're a constant looming presence in the lives of millions. Villages and towns cluster at the base of volcanoes, drawn by the rich soil and abundant water. People plant their crops, build their homes, and raise their families in the shadow of these giants, always aware that the next eruption could change everything in an instant. The volcanic soil they leave behind is incredibly fertile, giving rise to those lush, green landscapes Indonesia is so famous for. The fields and forests that blanket the islands are a direct result of the volcano's generosity, a gift that has sustained people for thousands of years. This rich earth supports intensive agriculture, feeding the nation's huge population and creating those iconic terraced rice paddies that cling to hillsides like giant green staircases. These terraces are more than just beautiful. They are a testament to human ingenuity, a way of working with the land's contours and making the most of every drop of water and every patch of fertile soil. Generations of farmers have learned to read the rhythms of the land, to anticipate the rains and the dry spells, to coax life from the earth even in the shadow of danger. The relationship between people and volcanoes is intimate, built on respect, caution, and a deep understanding of nature's cycles. But of course, this gift comes at a price. The same volcanoes that nourish the land can also bring disaster. Eruptions can bury villages, destroy crops, and force entire communities to flee. The threat is always there, a reminder that nature is ultimately in control. The volcanoes are a constant reminder of nature's untamable power. When they erupt, the world can change in a matter of hours. Skies darken, ash falls like snow, and rivers of lava redraw the map. For those who live here, resilience is not just a virtue, it's a necessity. They can erupt with devastating force, like the cataclysmic explosion of Krakatoa in 1883. That eruption was so powerful it was heard thousands of kilometers away, and the resulting tsunamis and ash clouds changed the climate around the world. It's a stark reminder of the scale of the forces at work here. Or the more recent rumblings of Mount Agong in Bali, which sent plumes of ash high into the sky and forced thousands to evacuate. These events are not just history, they are part of the living memory of the people, shaping how they see the world and their place in it. Living in their shadow, well, it takes a special kind of respect, resilience, and a deep, almost philosophical acceptance of nature's cycles of destruction and renewal. Many communities have developed rituals and traditions to honor the volcanoes, seeking to appease the spirits they believe dwell within and to find meaning in the unpredictable rhythms of the earth. These ceremonies are not just superstition. They are a way of acknowledging the power of the land, of expressing gratitude for its gifts and humility in the face of its dangers. The volcanoes are woven into the spiritual life of the people, symbols of both creation and destruction. Water is the other great shaper of Indonesia. If fire is the force that builds the land, water is the force that connects it, nourishes it, and sometimes threatens it. Indonesia is a nation of islands, over 17,000 of them, scattered across two great oceans, each one shaped by the ebb and flow of tides, rivers, and rain. The archipelago is cradled by the Indian and Pacific Oceans, and its islands are threaded with a complex network of rivers, lakes, and seas. These waterways are the lifeblood of the nation, providing routes for travel and trade, sources of food and water, and a sense of connection between distant communities. For centuries, Indonesians have relied on the water for survival. Rivers are highways, linking villages and cities, carrying goods and people from the mountains to the sea. The ocean is both a barrier and a bridge, separating islands but also bringing them together through trade, migration, and shared culture. The warm tropical waters surrounding these islands are part of the Coral Triangle, known as the global center of marine biodiversity. Here, the seas are alive with color and movement, home to thousands of species found nowhere else on Earth. Down beneath the waves, there's a world of breathtaking beauty, a kaleidoscope of coral reefs teeming with more species of fish and coral than anywhere else on the planet. These reefs are not just beautiful, they are vital, supporting entire ecosystems and providing food and livelihoods for millions. This marine wealth has sustained coastal communities for centuries, providing food, livelihoods, and a deep cultural connection to the sea. Fishing is more than just a job. It's a way of life, passed down from generation to generation, shaped by the rhythms of the tides and the seasons. In the markets, the bounty of the sea is on full display. Rows of fresh fish, shrimp, and shellfish, each one a testament to the richness of Indonesia's waters. The sea is a source of pride and identity, a reminder of the deep connection between people and nature. This dynamic interplay between volcanic land and tropical sea has created an astonishing range of ecosystems. Nowhere else on Earth do you find such diversity packed into such a small area. Rainforests, mangroves, coral reefs, savannas, and more, each one home to its own unique web of life. Within this single nation, you'll find steaming mangrove swamps, dense lowland rainforests, and tangled river deltas where land and water blur together. These mangroves are nurseries for fish and birds, protectors of the coastline and vital buffers against storms and rising seas. Misty cloud forests on mountain slopes, where the air is cool and damp, and every surface is covered in moss and ferns. These forests are home to rare plants and animals found nowhere else, a world apart from the hot, sun-drenched lowlands. And even savanna grasslands out in the drier eastern islands, where wild cattle roam and the landscape is open and windswept. Each ecosystem is a world unto itself, shaped by the interplay of fire, water, and time. Each environment, honestly, brings its own challenges and opportunities, shaping how people live, work, and interact with their world. In the rainforests, people hunt, gather, and farm in harmony with the land. In the savannas, they raise cattle and adapt to the dry season. Along the coasts, they fish, trade, and build their lives around the rhythms of the sea. The diversity of the land is matched by the diversity of its people. Over 300 ethnic groups call Indonesia home, each with its own language, traditions, and ways of relating to the land and sea. Stories and songs, rituals and festivals, all reflect the deep, enduring bond between people and nature. To really understand Indonesia, you have to understand this deep connection to the land and the sea, a relationship built on reverence, dependence, and a constant negotiation with the powerful forces of nature. It's a story of adaptation and resilience, of finding beauty and meaning in a world shaped by fire and water, and of living in harmony with a land that is always changing, always alive. The spiritual landscape of Indonesia, honestly, is just as varied and complex as its languages. Stretching across more than 17,000 islands, Indonesia is a nation where faith is woven into the very fabric of daily life. From the bustling streets of Jakarta to the tranquil rice paddies of Bali, and from the remote highlands of Papua to the volcanic heartlands of Java, religion is not just a private matter. It's a living, breathing presence that shapes communities, traditions, and even the landscape itself. Every morning, the call to prayer echoes through city neighborhoods and rural villages alike, mingling with the scent of incense and the sound of temple bells. In Indonesia, faith is everywhere, and it's impossible to separate it from the rhythms of everyday existence. While it's officially the world's most populous Muslim-majority country, that simple fact really hides a much more intricate and fascinating reality. Indonesia's religious identity is not monolithic. Instead, it's a vibrant mosaic, shaped by centuries of migration, trade, colonization, and cultural exchange. The archipelago has long been a crossroads for travelers, merchants, and missionaries from across Asia and beyond, each bringing their own beliefs and practices. Over time, these influences have mingled and merged, creating a spiritual landscape that is as diverse as the islands themselves. So while Islam is the dominant faith, it exists alongside a rich tapestry of other religions and spiritual traditions, each with its own history and unique local flavor. Islam in Indonesia isn't a single uniform thing. It's a broad stream with many currents, often blending with older beliefs and local customs. In Java, for example, the heartland of Indonesian Islam, you'll find a form of the faith that is deeply intertwined with the island's ancient traditions. Here, Islamic practices are often colored by centuries-old rituals, folklore, and a reverence for ancestors. The result is a uniquely Javanese expression of Islam, one that values harmony, respect for elders, and the importance of community ceremonies. In many villages, religious leaders are also keepers of local wisdom, and Islamic holidays are celebrated with traditional music, dance, and communal meals that reflect the island's rich cultural heritage. For example, the form of Islam practiced in Java is often mixed with Hindu, Buddhist, and animist traditions, creating a unique synthesis called Kejawen. Kejawen is not just a set of rituals, it's a worldview that emphasizes balance between the spiritual and material worlds, respect for nature, and the importance of inner harmony. In Kejawen ceremonies, you might see offerings of flowers and rice placed at sacred trees, or hear prayers that invoke both Allah and ancestral spirits. This blending of beliefs is a testament to the adaptability and inclusiveness of Indonesian spirituality, where new faiths are welcomed and integrated rather than imposed from above. This kind of blending is a hallmark of Indonesian spirituality, New faiths tend to layer on top of older ones, instead of replacing them completely. It's not uncommon to find a mosque built beside an ancient shrine, or to see villagers participating in both Islamic prayers and traditional rituals honoring the spirits of the land. This syncretism is not just tolerated, it's celebrated as a source of strength and resilience, allowing communities to adapt to changing times while preserving their unique cultural identities. But Islam is just one piece of the puzzle. Indonesia's religious landscape is a living testament to centuries of coexistence, negotiation, and mutual respect. In cities and villages alike, you'll find people of different faiths living side by side, sharing meals, celebrating each other's holidays, and working together to build their communities. This spirit of tolerance is not just a matter of policy. It's a deeply held value that shapes everyday interactions and helps to maintain social harmony in a country as diverse as Indonesia. The Indonesian constitution officially recognizes 6 religions: Islam, Protestantism, Catholicism, Hinduism, Buddhism, and Confucianism. This recognition is more than symbolic. It's enshrined in the country's laws and institutions. Every citizen is required to identify with one of these faiths on their national ID card, and religious education is a mandatory part of the school curriculum. At the same time, the government supports the construction and maintenance of places of worship for all recognized religions, and interfaith dialogue is actively encouraged at both the local and national levels. As you travel across the islands, you can actually see this diversity in the landscape. Each region has its own religious character, shaped by history, geography, and the unique mix of peoples who call it home. In some places, the skyline is dominated by the domes and minarets of mosques. In others, you'll see the spires of churches, the tiered roofs of Hindu temples, or the ornate gates of Buddhist shrines. Even the smallest villages often have multiple places of worship, reflecting the pluralism that is at the heart of Indonesian society. A towering mosque with elegant minarets might stand just a short distance from an ornate Christian church. In many towns, the call to prayer and the ringing of church bells create a unique soundscape, a daily reminder of the country's religious diversity. It's not unusual for neighbors of different faiths to help each other prepare for religious festivals, or for children to grow up attending both Islamic and Christian celebrations with their friends and relatives. In Bali, the whole island is a Hindu sanctuary, where daily life is an intricate dance of offerings, ceremonies, and rituals for a pantheon of gods and spirits. The Balinese calendar is filled with festivals, each one marked by colorful processions, elaborate costumes, and the sound of gamelan music. Every morning, families place small baskets of flowers, rice, and incense at their doorsteps, temples, and even on their motorbikes, as a way of honoring the gods and seeking protection for the day ahead. The island's temples, with their soaring pagoda-like roofs and intricate stone carvings, are the center of community life, hosting everything from weddings and funerals to dance performances and art exhibitions. The air is thick with incense, and every village has its own beautifully carved temples. These temples are not just places of worship, they're living symbols of the island's spiritual heritage, maintained by generations of artisans and priests. During major festivals, the entire community comes together to clean and decorate the temples, prepare offerings, and perform traditional dances that tell the stories of gods, heroes, and ancestors. For the Balinese, religion is not just a set of beliefs. It's a way of life, a source of beauty, meaning, and connection to the past. It's a world away from the Islamic heartlands of Java or Sumatra. In these regions, the rhythm of life is shaped by the 5 daily prayers, the observance of Ramadan, and the celebration of Islamic holidays like Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha. Mosques are the focal point of community life, and religious leaders play an important role in education, social welfare, and conflict resolution. Yet even here, you'll find traces of older traditions, shadow puppet performances that draw on Hindu epics, or village rituals that honor the spirits of the land. Further east, in islands like Flores and parts of Papua, Christianity is the main faith, a legacy of European missionaries. The arrival of Portuguese and Dutch missionaries in the 16th and 19th centuries brought Catholicism and Protestantism to these regions, where they took root and flourished. Today, churches are the heart of village life, and Sunday services are vibrant gatherings filled with singing, drumming, and joyful celebration. In many communities, Christian teachings are blended with local customs, creating a distinctive form of worship that reflects both global and indigenous influences. Here, Catholic cathedrals and Protestant churches are at the heart of community life. And religious festivals have a uniquely Indonesian flavor, often weaving in local music, dance, and traditional clothing. During major holidays like Christmas and Easter, entire villages come together to decorate the church, prepare communal meals, and perform traditional dances that celebrate both their faith and their cultural heritage. These festivals are not just religious events. They're opportunities for families to reunite, for young people to learn about their roots, and for communities to express their shared identity. And then there are the ancient faiths that predate all of these. Long before the arrival of world religions, the peoples of Indonesia practiced a wide variety of indigenous beliefs, many of which are still alive today. These traditions are rooted in a deep respect for nature, the ancestors, and the unseen forces that shape the world. In some regions, megalithic sites and sacred groves are still used for rituals that have been passed down for generations, connecting people to their land and their history in ways that are both spiritual and practical. Across the archipelago, especially in more remote areas, many communities still practice animism, believing that spirits inhabit natural objects like trees, rocks, and rivers. These beliefs are not just relics of the past, they're living traditions that continue to shape the way people interact with their environment. In some villages, rituals are performed to ensure a good harvest, to protect against illness, or to honor the spirits of ancestors who are believed to watch over the community. These practices are often integrated with the teachings of world religions, creating a rich and dynamic spiritual landscape. These beliefs, collectively called aliran kepercayaan, are deeply tied to the natural world and ancestral reverence. Aliran kepercayaan is not a single religion, but a broad category that encompasses hundreds of local traditions, each with its own rituals, myths, and sacred sites. For many Indonesians, these practices are a source of identity and pride, connecting them to their ancestors and to the land they call home. In recent years, there has been a growing movement to recognize and protect these indigenous faiths, ensuring that they continue to thrive alongside the country's major religions. This mosaic of beliefs is actually enshrined in the national motto, Bhinneka Tunggal Ika, which means unity in diversity. It's a phrase you'll see everywhere in Indonesia, from government buildings to school classrooms, from coins to public monuments. But it's more than just a slogan. It's a guiding principle that shapes the way Indonesians think about themselves and their country. In a nation as diverse as Indonesia, unity is not about erasing differences. It's about embracing them, finding common ground, and building a shared future based on mutual respect and understanding. The state philosophy, Pancasila, explicitly protects religious freedom and encourages tolerance. Pancasila's 5 principles include belief in one God, just and civilized humanity, the unity of Indonesia, democracy guided by wisdom, and social justice for all. These principles are taught in schools, celebrated in public ceremonies, and serve as the foundation for the country's laws and policies. Through Pancasila, Indonesia seeks to balance the rights of individuals with the needs of the community, ensuring that everyone has the freedom to practice their faith while respecting the beliefs of others. Sure, religious tensions do exist and sometimes flare up, but the overwhelming story of Indonesia is one of coexistence. In times of crisis, communities often come together across religious lines to provide support and comfort to those in need. Interfaith organizations work tirelessly to promote dialogue, resolve conflicts, and build bridges between different groups. While challenges remain, the commitment to tolerance and mutual respect is a powerful force that helps to hold the country together, even in the face of adversity. It's not unusual to see families of mixed faith or communities where a mosque, a church, and a temple all share the same neighborhood. In many households, members may follow different religions, yet they celebrate each other's holidays and support one another's spiritual journeys. This spirit of inclusivity is reflected in the way people talk about faith, not as a source of division. The diversity of Indonesia is written on the faces of its people. Each face tells a story, not just of an individual, but of a lineage, a community, and a history that stretches back through the centuries. When you look into the eyes of Indonesians, you see the echoes of ancient migrations, the blending of cultures, and the resilience of people who have adapted to a land of islands, mountains, and seas. The archipelago is a living mosaic, and its people are the vibrant tiles that make up its ever-changing pattern. With over 300 officially recognized ethnic groups and many more subgroups, the human geography of the nation is, well, a captivating spectrum of physical features, traditions, and ways of life. From the highlands to the coasts, from the remote villages to the sprawling cities, Indonesia's people reflect a breathtaking range of skin tones, facial structures, languages, and customs. This diversity is not just a matter of appearance, it is woven into the very fabric of daily life, shaping how people eat, celebrate, worship, and relate to one another. The result is a society where difference is the norm, and where every encounter is an opportunity to learn something new about what it means to be Indonesian. There is no single Indonesian look. The faces you see in Jakarta are not the same as those in Papua, and the people of Bali are distinct from those of Aceh. This is a country where the concept of identity is fluid, layered, and often surprising. The diversity is so profound that even within a single island, you might find dozens of languages spoken and a patchwork of customs and beliefs that have evolved over generations. It is this very complexity that gives Indonesia its unique character, a place where unity is forged not by sameness, but by the celebration of difference. A journey across the archipelago is a journey through a gallery of humanity, shaped by waves of migration that have washed over these islands for tens of thousands of years. Each region tells its own story, shaped by the movement of peoples, traders, settlers, conquerors, and refugees, who have left their mark on the land and its inhabitants. The result is a living history, visible in the faces of the people and audible in the languages spoken in markets, schools, and homes. To travel from one island to another is to witness the unfolding of a human epic, written not in books, but in the lives of ordinary Indonesians. The people you meet in the Western Islands often have distinctly Austronesian or Malay features, part of a vast family of peoples that stretches from Madagascar to Easter Island. Their ancestors were seafarers, skilled navigators who crossed vast stretches of ocean in search of new lands. This maritime heritage is still evident today, in the boats that dot the coastlines, in the songs sung by fishermen, and in the stories passed down from generation to generation. The Western Islands are a testament to the enduring spirit of exploration and adaptation that has defined Indonesia for millennia. Travel to the westernmost province of Aceh, on the island of Sumatra, and you will meet the Acehnese, known for their proud history and strong Islamic faith. Aceh has long been a gateway between the Indian Ocean and the Indonesian archipelago, a place where traders from Arabia, India, and China mingled with local peoples. This history is reflected in the faces of the Acehnese, in their language, and in their customs. The province is often called the Veranda of Mecca, a testament to its deep religious roots and its role as a center of Islamic learning and culture in Southeast Asia. Move south and inland, and you encounter the Batak people around the stunning Lake Toba, with their unique clan-based society and distinctive architecture. The Batak are known for their strong sense of identity, their elaborate rituals, and their vibrant music. Their traditional houses, with their steeply pitched roofs and intricate carvings, are a symbol of their cultural pride. The Batak have preserved many of their ancient customs, even as they have embraced Christianity and modernity. Their society is organized around powerful clans, each with its own history and traditions, and their festivals are a riot of color, music, and dance. Crossing over to the most populous island, Java, you find the Javanese and Sundanese people, who together make up more than half of Indonesia's population. Java is the political, economic, and cultural heart of the nation, and its people have played a central role in shaping Indonesia's modern identity. The Javanese are known for their refined manners, their love of art and literature, and their deep respect for tradition. The Sundanese, who live mainly in the western part of the island, have their own distinct language, music, and cuisine. Together, these groups form the backbone of Indonesian society, influencing everything from politics to pop culture. their cultures, refined by centuries of powerful kingdoms and courts, have had a profound influence on the art, music, and etiquette of the entire nation. The Javanese tradition of wayang kulit, or shadow puppetry, is recognized as a masterpiece of world heritage, while the gamelan orchestra provides the soundtrack to countless ceremonies and celebrations. The Sundanese are famous for their angklung music, played on bamboo instruments, and for their graceful dances. These artistic traditions are not just performances, they are expressions of a worldview that values harmony, balance, and respect for the past. Their gentle demeanor and intricate social rules present a fascinating contrast to other, more direct cultures in the archipelago. In Javanese society, indirectness and subtlety are prized, and communication is often layered with meaning. Social harmony is maintained through a complex system of etiquette, where every gesture, word, and even silence carries significance. The Sundanese, too, are known for their hospitality and warmth, welcoming guests with open arms and generous hearts. These values are passed down from generation to generation, shaping the way people interact in families, communities, and the wider society. As you venture further east, the faces begin to change. The features become more varied, the skin tones darker, and the cultural influences shift. Here, the legacy of ancient migrations from the Pacific and beyond is visible in the people you meet. The Eastern Islands are a crossroads of cultures, where Austronesian, Melanesian, and even Papuan influences blend in fascinating ways. The diversity is not just physical, it is linguistic, culinary, and spiritual, creating a rich tapestry of life that is both familiar and utterly unique. On islands like Sumba and Flores in the Nusa Tenggara chain, the features become darker, reflecting a stronger Melanesian heritage. The people here have preserved many of their ancestral customs, from the way they build their homes to the rituals they perform to honor their ancestors. Life moves at a different pace in these islands, shaped by the rhythms of the land and the sea. The communities are close-knit, and tradition is a living force, guiding everything from marriage to harvest to the way people greet one another on the street. Here, ancient traditions hold powerful sway, and societies are often structured around complex systems of ritual and exchange. In Sumba, for example, the annual Pasola festival is a dramatic display of horsemanship and communal spirit, rooted in centuries-old beliefs about the cycles of life and death. In Flores, elaborate ceremonies mark every stage of life, from birth to marriage to the passing of elders. These rituals are not just performances, they are acts of community, binding people together and connecting them to their ancestors and the land they call home. Finally, arriving in the vast wild land of Papua, the easternmost province, you enter another world entirely. Papua is a place of staggering natural beauty, with mist-shrouded mountains, dense rainforests, and rivers that wind through untouched wilderness. The people of Papua are as diverse as the landscape, with hundreds of distinct ethnic groups, each with its own language, customs, and beliefs. Life here is shaped by the land, and the connection between people and nature is deep and enduring. The indigenous Papuans are Melanesian peoples, with distinct physical characteristics, hundreds of unique languages, and cultures that have developed in relative isolation for millennia. Their societies are often organized around clans and tribes, each with its own territory and traditions. The Papuans have a deep spiritual connection to their ancestral lands, which are seen not just as a source of sustenance, but as the foundation of their identity. Despite the challenges of modernity and outside influence, many Papuan communities continue to live according to ancient ways, hunting, gathering, and farming in harmony with the land. Their connection to their ancestral lands is profound and deeply spiritual. Every mountain, river, and tree is imbued with meaning, and the stories of the ancestors are told and retold in song, dance, and ritual. For the Papuans, the land is not just a place to live, it is a living presence, a source of wisdom and strength. This spiritual worldview shapes every aspect of life, from the way people build their homes to the way they resolve conflicts and celebrate important events. This incredible human diversity is both a source of immense cultural wealth and a significant challenge for national unity. Indonesia's motto, Bhinneka Tunggal Ika, unity in diversity, captures the aspiration to bring together so many different peoples under a single national identity. But the reality is complex. The very differences that make Indonesia so rich can also be sources of tension, as groups struggle to preserve their traditions in the face of modernization, migration, and political change. The challenge is to find ways to honor and protect this diversity, while building a sense of shared purpose and belonging. Each group has its own history, its own grievances, and its own aspirations. Some have faced marginalization or conflict, while others have thrived and grown in influence. The process of nation-building in Indonesia is an ongoing negotiation, a balancing act between the needs of the many and the rights of the few. It is a story of compromise, resilience, and sometimes struggle. But it is also a story of hope, a belief that it is possible to create a society where everyone has a place and where difference is not just tolerated, but celebrated. Forging a common identity while respecting and preserving these unique cultures is one of the central projects of modern Indonesia. Schools teach children about the many cultures that make up their country, and national holidays are marked by celebrations of diversity. In cities and villages alike, people come together to share food, music, and stories, building bridges across the divides of language, religion, and ethnicity. The work is never finished, but it is a testament to the spirit of the Indonesian people, a willingness to embrace complexity, to learn from one another, and to move forward together. It is a delicate balancing act, a continuous conversation between the local and the national. In every corner of the archipelago, people are negotiating what it means to be Indonesian, how to honor their ancestors while building a future for their children, how to preserve their languages and customs while participating in a globalized world. The answers are not always easy, and the path is sometimes uncertain. But the journey itself is a source of strength, a reminder that Indonesia's greatest asset is its people, their creativity, their resilience, and their capacity for empathy and understanding. Meeting the people, the Minangkabau of Sumatra, the Balinese, the Dayaks of Borneo, the Bugis seafarers of Sulawesi, the Torajans with their elaborate funeral rites, is to understand that Indonesia is not a monolithic entity, but a vibrant federation of distinct peoples united under one flag. Each group brings its own gifts to the national tapestry. The Minangkabau, with their matrilineal society and rich cuisine, the Balinese with their artistry and spiritual devotion, the Dayaks with their deep knowledge of the rainforest, the Bugis with their legendary navigational skills, the Torajans with their reverence for the ancestors. Together, they form a nation that is as complex as it is beautiful, a living testament to the power of diversity and to the enduring dream of unity. To understand Indonesia today, you must look back at the immense weight of its history. The story of this nation is not just written in textbooks or etched into ancient stones. It is lived every day by its people, woven into the fabric of daily life, and echoed in the voices of children reciting the national anthem. Indonesia's past is not a distant memory, but a living, breathing presence that shapes the hopes, dreams, and challenges of its citizens. This is a young nation, having only declared its independence in 1945, but it is an ancient land, the cradle of powerful empires and a crossroads of global trade for centuries. The contrast between Indonesia's youthful statehood and its deep historical roots is striking. While the modern republic is less than a century old, the islands themselves have witnessed the rise and fall of civilizations, the ebb and flow of religions, and the constant movement of people, goods, and ideas. The land is ancient, but the nation is young, and this duality is at the heart of Indonesia's identity. The story of Indonesia is one of layers, where each era has left its mark on the culture, politics, and people. These layers are visible in the vibrant batik patterns worn by locals, in the architecture that blends ancient temples with Dutch colonial facades, and in the languages spoken in markets and homes. Indonesia is a mosaic, a patchwork of traditions and influences, each one adding depth and complexity to the national character. The diversity of its people, over 300 ethnic groups and more than 700 languages, reflects centuries of migration, trade, and adaptation. Long before Europeans arrived, the archipelago was home to sophisticated maritime kingdoms. These early societies mastered the seas, building ships that could travel vast distances and establishing trade routes that connected the islands to India, China, and the Middle East. The sea was both a barrier and a bridge, shaping the way people lived, worshipped, and governed. The skills of these early mariners laid the foundation for Indonesia's enduring connection to the wider world. Great Hindu-Buddhist empires like Srivijaya in Sumatra and Majapahit in Java controlled vast swathes of Southeast Asia, growing wealthy from the lucrative spice trade and leaving behind magnificent monuments like Borobudur and Prambanan. These empires were centers of learning, art, and spirituality, attracting scholars and traders from across Asia. The temples they built were not just places of worship, but symbols of power and cosmopolitanism, reminders of a time when Indonesia was at the heart of a thriving regional network. The arrival of Islam, brought peacefully by traders from India and the Middle East starting in the 13th century, marked a profound cultural shift. Unlike the violent conquests seen elsewhere, Islam in Indonesia spread through commerce, marriage, and the appeal of Sufi mysticism. It offered new ways of understanding the world, new forms of art and literature, and new connections to the global Muslim community. Over time, Islam became deeply rooted in Indonesian society, but it did not erase what came before. Instead, it blended with local customs, creating a uniquely Indonesian expression of faith. It spread gradually across the islands, establishing powerful sultanates and reshaping societies, yet often blending with existing spiritual beliefs rather than erasing them entirely. This syncretism is still visible today, in rituals that combine Islamic prayers with ancient animist offerings, in festivals that honor both saints and spirits, and in the everyday lives of people who move easily between different worlds. Indonesia's ability to absorb and adapt new influences is one of its greatest strengths, allowing it to remain resilient in the face of change. This was followed by the arrival of Europeans in the 16th century, drawn by the fabled Spice Islands. The allure of nutmeg, cloves, and other exotic spices brought Portuguese, Spanish, British, and Dutch adventurers to these shores, each seeking to control the lucrative trade. The islands became a battleground for empires, their people caught in the crossfire of global ambition. The spice trade transformed Indonesia's economy and society, but it also brought violence, exploitation, and profound upheaval. The Portuguese, Spanish, British, and most significantly, the Dutch all vied for control. The Dutch, through the Dutch East India Company and later the colonial government, established a system that extracted immense wealth from the islands while imposing harsh rule on the local population. The legacy of this era is still visible in the architecture of cities like Jakarta and Semarang, in the legal and educational systems, and in the memories of families whose ancestors lived through the colonial period. The Dutch eventually established the Dutch East Indies, a colonial enterprise that brutally exploited the island's resources and people for over 300 years, artificially binding together these diverse islands under a single oppressive administration. The colonial system was designed to benefit the Dutch, with little regard for the welfare of Indonesians. Forced labor, heavy taxation, and racial discrimination were everyday realities. Yet, even in the darkest times, Indonesians found ways to resist, to preserve their dignity, and to dream of freedom. The experience of colonialism was a defining one. It left deep scars, but it also forged a sense of shared struggle and identity. The memory of injustice and resistance became a powerful force, inspiring generations to fight for a better future. The stories of hardship and resilience are passed down from grandparents to grandchildren, shaping the way Indonesians see themselves and their place in the world. It sowed the seeds of a shared identity based on a common struggle against a foreign ruler. The idea of Indonesia as a single nation, rather than a collection of islands and ethnicities, was born in the crucible of resistance. The red and white flag, the national anthem, and the Pancasila philosophy all emerged as symbols of unity and hope. These symbols continue to inspire pride and solidarity, reminding Indonesians of the sacrifices made for freedom. The 20th century saw the rise of a powerful nationalist movement, led by charismatic figures like Sukarno, who dreamed of a free and united Indonesia. These leaders traveled the world, studied new ideas, and built alliances across ethnic and religious lines. They understood that independence would not come easily, but they were determined to build a nation that reflected the hopes and aspirations of all Indonesians. Their vision was bold, a country that was independent, just, and inclusive, where diversity was a source of strength rather than division. The brutal Japanese occupation during World War II shattered the myth of Dutch invincibility and provided an opportunity. The Japanese promised independence but imposed their own harsh rule, forcing Indonesians into labor and military service. Yet the occupation also exposed the weaknesses of colonial power and gave rise to new leaders and organizations. For many Indonesians, the war was a time of suffering, but also of awakening, a moment when the dream of independence became a real possibility. On August 17, 1945, just days after the Japanese surrender, Sukarno and his fellow nationalists proclaimed independence. The news spread quickly, carried by word of mouth, radio broadcasts, and handwritten leaflets. Across the archipelago, people celebrated, wept, and prepared for the struggle ahead. The declaration was a moment of hope, but also of uncertainty, as the Dutch sought to reassert control and the world watched to see what would happen next. This declaration was not the end of the struggle, but the beginning of a bloody 4-year revolution against the returning Dutch. The fight for independence was waged in cities and villages, in jungles and on beaches, by men and women, young and old. It was a time of sacrifice and heroism, of loss and determination. The revolution forged a new sense of national identity, uniting people from different backgrounds in a common cause. This history of empires, trade, colonialism, and revolution is not just in the past. It lives on in the present. It shapes the way Indonesians see themselves and their country, influencing everything from politics to art to daily life. The echoes of ancient kingdoms, colonial rule, and the struggle for independence can be heard in the music, seen in the architecture, and felt in the pride of a nation that has overcome immense challenges. It shapes political attitudes, regional identities, and Indonesia's view of its place in the world. The legacy of past empires inspires pride and ambition, while the memory of colonialism fuels a determination to protect sovereignty and resist foreign interference. Regional diversity is celebrated, but it also presents challenges as the nation works to balance unity with respect for local traditions and identities. The legacy of the Majapahit Empire is invoked to inspire national pride, while the memory of colonial exploitation fuels a fierce sense of sovereignty. These historical references are not just academic, they are part of everyday conversations, political debates, and cultural expressions. They remind Indonesians of what they have achieved and what they must continue to defend. The struggle for independence is a foundational story that unites the nation. It is celebrated every year on Independence Day, not just with parades and ceremonies, but with games, songs, and stories that bring people together. The memory of sacrifice and victory is a source of strength, reminding Indonesians that they are capable of overcoming any challenge when they stand together. Understanding this long and often turbulent history is essential to appreciating the challenges and triumphs of modern Indonesia, a nation still working to define itself on the world stage. Today, Indonesia is the world's 4th most populous country, a vibrant democracy, and a rising economic power. Yet it continues to grapple with the legacies of its past, striving to balance tradition and modernity, unity and diversity, memory and progress. The weight of history is heavy, but it is also a source of inspiration, guiding Indonesia as it charts its own path into the future. Indonesia is more than just a place to observe. It is a country that invites you to participate, to dive in headfirst and experience it with all your senses. From the moment you arrive, the air is thick with the scent of clove cigarettes and tropical flowers, the soundscape alive with the calls of street vendors, the laughter of children, and the distant hum of scooters weaving through narrow lanes. Here, you are not a passive observer, but an active participant in a living, breathing tapestry of culture, nature, and adventure. Every day in Indonesia is an open invitation to step outside your comfort zone and embrace the unknown, to let curiosity guide your journey, and to discover the extraordinary in the everyday. It is, at its core, a grand adventure waiting to happen. Whether you are wandering through the lush jungles of Sumatra, watching the first rays of sunlight illuminate the volcanic peaks of Java, or simply sharing a smile with a stranger in a remote village, Indonesia offers a sense of possibility that is both exhilarating and humbling. The spirit of adventure is woven into the very fabric of daily life here, and it is impossible not to be swept up in its current. The sheer scale and variety of the archipelago mean that the possibilities are, honestly, virtually limitless, catering to every kind of traveler, from the adrenaline junkie to the spiritual seeker. With over 17,000 islands scattered across the equator, Indonesia is a mosaic of cultures, landscapes, and experiences. Each island has its own unique character, its own stories to tell, and its own adventures to offer. You could spend a lifetime exploring Indonesia and still only scratch the surface of what this remarkable country has to offer. From the cosmopolitan energy of Jakarta to the tranquil beauty of the Banda Islands, from the ancient temples of Yogyakarta to the wild rainforests of Kalimantan, there is something here for everyone. The call to adventure here is not a manufactured slogan for a tourist brochure. It is an intrinsic part of the landscape and the culture. It is in the way the morning mist clings to the rice terraces of Ubud, in the rhythmic movements of Balinese dancers as they tell stories passed down through generations, and in the quiet determination of fishermen who set out before dawn to cast their nets into the sea. Adventure is not just an activity in Indonesia. It is a way of life, a philosophy that encourages you to embrace uncertainty, to seek out new experiences, and to find joy in the journey itself. It is the promise of discovery that lies around every corner, over every mountain, and across every stretch of sea. The landscape itself seems to beckon you onward, inviting you to explore hidden coves, climb mist-shrouded peaks, and wander through ancient forests where the only sounds are the calls of exotic birds and the rustle of leaves underfoot. Whether you are drawn to the dramatic cliffs of Nusa Penida, the serene beaches of the Gili Islands, or the untamed wilderness of Papua, Indonesia offers a sense of freedom and possibility that is truly unparalleled. For those who crave physical challenges, Indonesia is a world-class playground. The country's diverse terrain offers endless opportunities for adventure sports and outdoor activities. Imagine scaling sheer limestone cliffs that rise dramatically above turquoise bays, or navigating winding mountain bike trails that cut through dense jungle and open up to breathtaking vistas. Suspension bridges sway gently over rushing rivers, connecting remote villages and offering a thrilling sense of exposure and accomplishment. Every step, every climb, every paddle stroke is a chance to test your limits and discover new strengths within yourself. You can climb to the crater rim of an active volcano, like a Mount Rinjani on Lombok, trekking for days through changing ecosystems to be rewarded with a sunrise view that feels like you're on top of the world. The journey is as transformative as the destination, taking you through lush rainforests, alpine meadows, and barren volcanic landscapes. Along the way, you'll encounter fellow adventurers from around the globe, each with their own stories and motivations, and you'll share moments of camaraderie and awe as you witness the raw power of nature up close. The sense of accomplishment you feel as you stand on the rim, gazing out over a sea of clouds and distant peaks, is something that will stay with you long after you've descended back to Earth. You can surf some of the planet's most legendary waves in the Mentawai Islands, a remote chain off the coast of Sumatra. These islands are a mecca for surfers, drawing wave riders from around the world with their perfect barrels and uncrowded breaks. The journey to the Mentawais is an adventure in itself, involving overnight ferries, small boats, and a willingness to embrace the unknown. But the reward is a surfing experience unlike any other. Crystal clear water, palm-fringed beaches, and waves that seem to peel endlessly across the reef. Whether you're a seasoned pro or a curious beginner, the Mentawais offer a chance to connect with the ocean in its purest, most exhilarating form. You can go whitewater rafting down raging rivers that cut through deep jungle gorges in Bali or Sulawesi. The rivers here are wild and untamed, their courses shaped by centuries of volcanic activity and monsoon rains. As you navigate the rapids, dodging boulders and plunging through churning water, you'll feel a rush of adrenaline and a profound sense of connection to the natural world. The jungle closes in around you, alive with the calls of birds and the chatter of monkeys. And for a few exhilarating hours, you are completely immersed in the raw, untamed beauty of Indonesia's wilderness. Or you can embark on a multi-day trek deep into the rainforests of Borneo in search of wild orangutans, a truly humbling and unforgettable experience. The forests of Borneo are among the oldest and most biodiverse on the planet, home to countless species found nowhere else on Earth. Trekking here is a journey into another world, where the air is thick with humidity and the canopy overhead filters the sunlight into a soft green glow. With each step, you'll learn to read the signs of the forest, to listen for the telltale rustle of leaves that signals the presence of an orangutan or the distant call of a hornbill. The moments when you finally catch sight of a wild orangutan moving gracefully through the trees are moments of pure magic, reminders of the fragility and wonder of the natural world. But adventure in Indonesia is not just about extreme sports. It is also about the quieter, more intimate moments of connection and discovery. Sharing a meal with a local family, learning the intricate art of batik, or joining in a game of sepak takraw with village children. These are the experiences that linger in your memory long after the adrenaline has faded. They are reminders that adventure is as much about people as it is about places, and that the greatest discoveries often come when you open yourself up to new perspectives and ways of life. It is also about cultural immersion and stepping out of your comfort zone. In Indonesia, you are invited to participate in traditions that have been passed down for generations, to don a sarong and join a temple ceremony, to learn the steps of a traditional dance, or to try your hand at preparing a local dish. These experiences are not staged for tourists. They are genuine expressions of community and identity, and they offer a window into the rich tapestry of Indonesian culture. By embracing these opportunities, you not only gain a deeper understanding of the country, but you also become part of its ongoing story. The adventure can be as simple as navigating the chaotic, bewildering streets of Jakarta on foot, a sensory overload of sights, sounds, and smells. The city pulses with energy, its streets alive with the constant movement of people, vehicles, and commerce. Street vendors call out their wares, the aroma of sizzling satay fills the air, and the vibrant colors of fresh fruit and spices create a feast for the eyes. Crossing the street becomes an act of faith, a dance of timing and intuition, and every interaction is an opportunity to learn something new about the rhythm of life in Indonesia's capital. It can be chartering a local boat to explore a string of deserted islands, sleeping in a simple hut on the beach, and eating fish caught just hours before. The sense of freedom that comes from leaving the mainland behind, from waking up to the sound of waves lapping at the shore and the sight of the sun rising over an empty horizon, is hard to describe. Life slows down to the rhythm of the tides, and the worries of the outside world seem to melt away. Whether you spend your days snorkeling over vibrant coral reefs, exploring hidden coves, or simply relaxing in a hammock with a good book, the experience is one of pure, unfiltered adventure. It can be attending a local funeral ceremony in Tanah Toraja, a powerful and profound cultural experience that offers a unique perspective on life and death. The Torajan people have a deep and complex relationship with mortality, and their funeral ceremonies are elaborate affairs that can last for days, involving the entire community in a celebration of life and a farewell to the departed. As a visitor, you are welcomed with open arms, invited to witness rituals that are both ancient and deeply meaningful. The experience is both humbling and enlightening, a reminder of the universality of human experience and the many ways in which we seek to honor those who have gone before us. The real adventure is in the connections you make and the perspectives you gain. It is in the conversations shared over cups of sweet, strong coffee, in the laughter that bridges language barriers, and in the friendships that form in the unlikeliest of places. Indonesia is a country that rewards curiosity and openness, a place where every encounter has the potential to change the way you see the world. The stories you collect here, of kindness, resilience, and shared humanity, are the true treasures of your journey. This invitation extends to the underwater world as well. Indonesia's seas are a realm of wonder, a place where the boundaries between reality and fantasy blur. As you slip beneath the surface, you enter a world of vibrant color and teeming life, where coral gardens stretch as far as the eye can see, and schools of fish move in perfect synchrony. The sense of weightlessness, the gentle sway of the current, and the ever-present possibility of encountering something extraordinary make every dive an adventure in itself. With the highest marine biodiversity on Earth, Indonesia is a mecca for scuba divers and snorkelers. The country's coral reefs are home to an astonishing array of life, from tiny jewel-like nudibranchs to massive schools of barracuda and swirling clouds of reef fish. Every dive is a chance to witness the intricate dance of predator and prey, to marvel at the delicate beauty of a seahorse or the graceful flight of a manta ray. Whether you are exploring the legendary reefs of Raja Ampat, the dramatic drop-offs of Bunaken, or the mysterious muck sites of Lembe, the underwater world of Indonesia is a place of endless fascination and discovery. Places like Raja Ampat in West Papua or Komodo National Park offer underwater spectacles that are unrivaled anywhere else. In Raja Ampat, the reefs are so rich and vibrant that scientists are still discovering new species, and every dive feels like an exploration of an untouched frontier. In Komodo, strong currents bring nutrient-rich waters that support a dazzling array of marine life, from tiny pygmy seahorses to massive manta rays, and even the occasional whale shark. The sense of wonder you feel as you drift over these living landscapes is impossible to put into words, a reminder of the beauty and fragility of our planet's oceans. You can swim with majestic manta rays, drift along vibrant coral walls teeming with thousands of fish, and discover bizarre macro critters hiding on the seafloor. Each dive is a new adventure, a chance to encounter creatures you've only ever seen in documentaries, and to witness the intricate web of life that sustains these extraordinary ecosystems. The thrill of spotting a rare species, the joy of sharing the experience with fellow divers, and the sense of awe that comes from being surrounded by such abundance. All of these combine to make diving in Indonesia an experience you will never forget. This is not just sightseeing. It is an exploration of one of the planet's last great wild frontiers. Indonesia's remote islands and reefs are places where nature still reigns supreme, where the rhythms of the tides and the cycles of the moon shape daily life, and where the sense of discovery is as real and immediate as it was for the first explorers who set sail across these waters. To journey here is to step into a world that is both ancient and ever-changing, a place where adventure is not just possible, but inevitable. Indonesia beckons you to leave the well-trodden path, to be curious, to be bold, and to create your own unique story within its vast and varied lands. Whether you are seeking thrills, searching for meaning, or simply longing for a change of perspective, you will find what you are looking for here, and so much more. The invitation is open, the adventure is waiting, and the only question that remains is, will you answer the call? At the very heart of this vast and complex nation lies a simple but powerful phrase, Bhinneka Tunggal Ika. These words, though ancient, continue to echo through the lives of more than 270 million people, spread across over 17,000 islands, speaking more than 700 languages and practicing a multitude of faiths. Indonesia is a country that, on the surface, seems almost impossible to unite. Its islands stretch from the tip of Sumatra in the west to the wilds of Papua in the east, encompassing a breathtaking array of landscapes, peoples, and traditions. Yet it is this very diversity that forms the foundation of the Indonesian identity, and Bhinneka Tunggal Ika is the phrase that binds it all together. It is the official motto of Indonesia, inscribed on the national emblem, held in the talons of the mythical Garuda bird. The Garuda, a legendary creature from ancient mythology, is more than just a symbol. It is a reminder of the country's deep roots in history and its aspirations for the future. The phrase Bhinneka Tunggal Ika, written in elegant script, is not just a decorative element. It is a declaration of intent, a promise to every citizen that their differences are not only accepted, but celebrated. Translated from Old Javanese, it means unity in diversity. These three words capture the essence of Indonesia's national philosophy. They are a call to recognize that, while Indonesians may come from different backgrounds, speak different languages, and practice different religions, they are united by a shared commitment to building a harmonious society. This unity is not about erasing differences, but about weaving them together into a vibrant tapestry that is uniquely Indonesian. This is not just a slogan, it is the guiding principle, the philosophical anchor for a country built from an almost impossible collection of different islands, cultures, languages, and religions. Imagine a nation where a single boat ride can take you from a Hindu temple ceremony in Bali to a Christian church service in North Sulawesi, or where a short flight can transport you from the bustling streets of Jakarta to the tranquil villages of Papua. Each region, each island, each community brings its own unique flavor to the national identity, and yet all are bound together by the spirit of Bhinneka Tunggal Ika. It is the answer to the fundamental question of how a place so incredibly diverse can exist as a single unified nation. Indonesia's founders understood that unity could not be achieved by force or by demanding conformity. Instead, they envisioned a nation where people would come together, not in spite of their differences, but because of them. The red and white flag that flies over the archipelago is a symbol of this unity. A reminder that no matter where you come from, you are part of something greater. It acknowledges the differences as a source of strength, not weakness. In Indonesia, diversity is not a problem to be solved, but a treasure to be cherished. The country's many ethnic groups, from the Javanese and Sundanese to the Batak, Minangkabau, Bugis, and Papuans, each contribute their own customs, cuisines, and worldviews. This rich mosaic is what gives Indonesia its resilience and creativity, allowing it to adapt and thrive in a rapidly changing world. The spirit of Bhinneka Tunggal Ika is something you can feel as you travel through the country. It is in the warm smiles of strangers, the open invitations to share a meal, and the countless acts of kindness that bridge the gaps between cultures. Whether you are wandering through a traditional market in Yogyakarta, exploring the highlands of Toraja, or relaxing on the beaches of Lombok, you will encounter people who are proud of their heritage, yet eager to connect with others. You see it in the way people from different backgrounds interact in the markets, in the workplace, and in public spaces. In the bustling heart of Jakarta, you might find a Sundanese vendor selling snacks to a Batak customer, while a Javanese office worker collaborates with a colleague from Maluku. In the villages, neighbors of different faiths come together to celebrate weddings, funerals, and festivals, supporting each other through life's joys and challenges. It is in the national curriculum that teaches children about the different cultures that make up their country. From an early age, Indonesian students learn not only about their own traditions, but also about the customs and beliefs of their fellow citizens. They study the dances of Aceh, the music of Bali, the crafts of Papua, and the legends of the Minangkabau. This education is not just about knowledge, it is about fostering empathy, curiosity, and respect for others. It is in the national holidays that celebrate the festivals of different religions, not just the majority one. On Eid al-Fitr, Christmas, Nyepi, Vesak, and Chinese New Year, the entire nation comes alive with celebrations. Streets are decorated, homes are open to guests, and people of all backgrounds join in the festivities. These moments are reminders that, while faith may differ, the joy of coming together is universal. Of course, the ideal is not always the reality. Indonesia, like any nation, faces its share of challenges. There are moments of tension, misunderstanding, and even conflict. The journey toward unity is ongoing, and the work of building bridges between communities is never truly finished. There are tensions, prejudices, and conflicts, as there are in any diverse society. Sometimes differences can lead to suspicion or fear. There have been times in Indonesia's history when violence has erupted, when communities have been divided, and when the dream of unity has seemed out of reach. But even in these difficult moments, the spirit of Bhinneka Tunggal Ika endures, reminding Indonesians of the importance of dialogue, understanding, and reconciliation. But the commitment to this ideal of unity remains a powerful force in Indonesian life. It is seen in the way people come together in times of crisis, whether facing natural disasters, economic hardship, or political upheaval. The raising of the national flag, the singing of the anthem, and the collective pride in being Indonesian are all expressions of this enduring commitment. This principle is a constant work in progress, a national project that requires continuous effort and negotiation. It is not something that can be taken for granted. Every generation must find its own way to live out the promise of Bhinneka Tunggal Ika, to adapt it to new challenges, and to ensure that it remains relevant in a changing world. This means having difficult conversations, making compromises, and finding common ground even when it is not easy. In a world that is often being pulled apart by ethnic and religious divisions, Indonesia's attempt to embrace its diversity as its core identity is both ambitious and inspiring. While many countries struggle to manage their differences, Indonesia has chosen to make diversity its strength. This is not to say that the journey is without obstacles. But the willingness to keep striving for unity is what sets Indonesia apart. It is a daily practice of tolerance, compromise, and mutual respect. In homes, schools, workplaces, and places of worship, Indonesians are constantly negotiating the boundaries of identity and belonging. They learn to listen to each other, to appreciate different perspectives, and to find ways to live together in peace. This is not always easy, but it is essential to the survival of the nation. It means a Balinese Hindu can feel just as Indonesian as a Javanese Muslim or a Christian from Flores. No matter what language you speak at home, what clothes you wear, or what holidays you celebrate, you are part of the same national story. This sense of belonging is what gives Indonesians the confidence to embrace the world, to welcome visitors, and to share their culture with pride. It is the belief that the sum of all these different parts creates a whole that is richer, stronger, and more vibrant than any single part could be on its own. The music, art, cuisine, and traditions of Indonesia are a testament to the power of diversity. From the haunting melodies of the gamelan to the intricate patterns of batik, from the fiery flavors of Padang cuisine to the gentle rituals of Javanese court life, every element adds to the richness of the national culture. As we embark on this journey to discover Indonesia, this motto will be our compass. It will guide us as we explore the many faces of the nation, from the crowded streets of Jakarta to the remote villages of Papua, from the ancient temples of Java to the modern skyscrapers of Surabaya. Along the way, we will meet people whose stories reflect the challenges and triumphs of building unity and diversity. It will help us navigate the complexities and understand the contrasts. Indonesia is a land of paradoxes, modern yet traditional, urban yet rural, deeply spiritual yet forward-looking. The contrasts are not contradictions, but rather the threads that, when woven together, create the fabric of the nation. Understanding Indonesia means embracing these complexities and seeing them as sources of strength. It will remind us that behind every different custom, every strange food, and every unfamiliar face, there is a shared identity and a common dream of a united nation. Whether you are tasting rendang for the first time, learning a few words of Bahasa Indonesia, or joining in a local celebration, you are participating in the ongoing story of Bhinneka Tunggal Ika. The story of Indonesia is the story of Bhinneka Tunggal Ika in action, a grand, ongoing experiment in forging unity from incredible diversity. Every Independence Day, when the red and white flags are raised and the national anthem is sung, Indonesians are reminded of the journey they have taken together. It is a journey marked by struggle and sacrifice, but also by hope and determination. It is this spirit that makes Indonesia one of the most fascinating and important countries to understand in the 21st century. As the world grapples with questions of identity, belonging, and coexistence, Indonesia offers a powerful example of how diversity can be a source of unity, not division. The spirit of Bhinneka Tunggal Ika is not just Indonesia's gift to itself. It is a lesson for the world, a reminder that, in the end, we are all stronger together.